Good morning, Year One. Happy Monday. Welcome to week 7. This week for writing, we're going to be writing a literary recount, which means we're going to write a recount about the story How the Kangaroos Got Their Tails, which we have been reading in shared reading this week. So, a recount is when we're going to retell and describe the events that happened in the story. And we need to make sure when we're retelling these events that we are retelling them in order that they happened. So, today's focus is going to be on writing our introduction. And it's important to note when we write a recount, it has to be in past tense. So, our writing is about something that has already happened. So, for example, we don't say this is a no deal. First, we are going to the shops. That's a no deal because that is in future tense. We want to go in past tense. So, we would say we went to the shops. Okay, so it's already happened using that past tense language. So let's get started with our mini lesson today. I'm going to share my screen. Present. Okay, so this is what our recount is on, how the kangaroos got their tails. So we're going to write our introduction, like I said. And with our introduction, we're going to be looking at the 4 W's. We need to write when, who, where, and what. So when, who, where, and what. So it might be a good idea now in your learning journal to write these 4 words down. So that way when we go through them today, you will have your information ready so you can go and independently write your introduction. So writing on your piece of paper, when, who, where, and what. And we'll go through them together. Okay, you can return back to these slides in the flexible learning planner if you need to write those 4 W's down. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to read the story again, and I'm going to underline those 4 W's, when, where, who, and what, in our text. So that way, when I write my introduction, I'm going to write about those 4 W's. Okay? So this story that I'm going to read to you is the same story in shared reading, except it might have it might have some changes in the words that are used, because with an Indigenous Dreamtime story, it has been passed down over generations, and each person who passes on that story interprets, which means they see it in a different way. So it's still the same story, the words might just be a little different. Okay, let me get my pen ready. All right, let's get started. So, back in the days of the dreaming, 2 kangaroos lived in the country now known as Australia. The large brown kangaroo, which was our long-armed kangaroo, was from the plains, and the smaller grey kangaroo was from the hills. And that's our short-armed kangaroo. So on this page, I need to underline when. And I can see back in the days of the dreaming. We know that the dreaming is the dream time, and that was a long, long time ago. So in your learning journal where you have wrote when, you might want to write down dreaming or dream time. So this is when. Okay. When, who? I need to find out who are the characters in this story. We have the 2 kangaroos. And if you want to go into more detail, you might say the brown kangaroo and the grey kangaroo. or the short arm kangaroo and the long arm kangaroo. So my two kangaroos are my who. So in your learning journal, you might want to write next to who, you might want to write the two kangaroos. This is just our plan. We're just planning our information because good writers always have a plan before they independently write their sentences. Okay, the next W is the where. So it says lived in the country now known as Australia. And we know it's in the outback, isn't it? Outback Australia, there's lots of land, lots of features in the landscape like the hills and the plains. So you might want to write Outback Australia or Australia next to your where in your plan. So where you have where in your learning journal, you might want to write Australia. We're nearly finished our plan. Give you some time to do that. And we're missing one more component. So for our introduction, we might start by saying, one day back in the dreaming or back in the dream time, two kangaroos that lived in Australia wanted to get, what did they want to get? Sorry, I'm just moving to the next. We know they wanted to get, what did they want to get? They wanted to get the sugar bag. This was the what. What were they doing? They were hopping around to get sugar bag. So that is the what. So in your learning journal next to what, you might want to write sugar bag, which is also known as wild bush honey. That is another word you might want to write down. Okay, so in your plan, in your learning journal for the 4 W's, you should have the 4 W's, which is when, during the dream time, who, the two kangaroos, where, outback Australia, what, they were hopping around to get the sugar bag wild bush honey. That's what they were going to do. So that is going to give our reader a really good idea on what our recount is going to be about. What events are we retelling? So this is our plan. We've gone through how we're going to plan our introduction. Your main task today is you're going to now go off and independently write your sentences. Write your sentences in about 1 to 2 sentences about what we were just talking about. If you're unsure on how to do this, I've attached an example on the Flexible Learning Planner. My introduction for my literary recount is on the story The Rainbow Serpent. Your literary recount is going to be about how the kangaroos got their tails. So go have a look at my teacher example, write the 4 W's in 1 to 2 sentences to introduce your literary recount. Tomorrow we will have a mini lesson on how to write our first paragraph, so to talk about the first event in the story. So can't wait to see you all then. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.